Crypto is currently growing at 113%. So the internet was the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded human history. Right. Crypto is twice the speed of adoption of the fastest ever recorded technology in all human history. We get to 1 billion people by 2024. Some people have started to realize now that it is an answer, and it's a very meaningful answer. And it not only is it an asset class with hope, it's an asset class with upside, big upside, potential upside, 100x from here. So it doesn't really matter how early or late you are. And it fits into traditional portfolio asset allocation models. That means it's not a stupid investment for those pension plans and others. So I think it just over time, if we look at the adoption of the Bitcoin network and crypto network overall, the internet was growing at 63% a year from 1990 to 2000. Right now, and that in 1997, the internet had 140 million users, which is exactly where we are with crypto right now. Crypto is currently growing at 113%. So the internet was the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded human history. Right. Crypto is twice the speed of adoption of the fastest ever recorded technology in all human history. We get to 1 billion people by 2024. That's exponentiality, my friend. I've always said it's like being short a call option, i.e. the more it goes up, the more you have to buy it.
But here is my question, because I'm having a hard time reconciling the mechanisms. How does a collateral that has a wildly changing second to second price become an actual collateral in debt markets, really?
So first, when you've got a collateral that moves a lot in value, it means you can lend less against it. So the lower volatility Bitcoin has over time as it gets more adopted, the more leverage there'll be against it. So right now, you hear these terms like things are over collateralized. It's because Bitcoin's very volatile. It's just been down 50% and gone back up another 30%, and we all kind of understand that of the space now. But so therefore, as a lender, well, if you'd have lent double on that, you'd have been wiped out. So it depends what kind of lender you are. Now, they get around it in this 100x or 25x and all of this extra by having automatic liquidations and stuff like that. So that's different. But really, for it to be the pristine collateral that it is, volatility, the more the volatility comes down over time as it gets more adopted, the more it can be used as collateral and the more value as collateral it has. And what is valuable collateral? Valuable collateral is collateral you can borrow against. Exactly. You can't print more of it. Right. US bonds, in a recession, you actually get penalized for your collateral. Yeah. Because I've got US bonds that are my best collateral. I give them to you because you want to borrow them. And what happens is the Federal Reserve makes a load more of them. And the price goes up, sure, because we're in the middle of a recession and you need the bonds. But my future gains have gone because yields have collapsed. So I'm like, okay, well, what was the point of owning that collateral in the end? Because I'm not getting any increased yield because the Federal Reserve dropped yields to zero. Now with Bitcoin, it's probably going to work the opposite. Because if you want my Bitcoin, you're going to have to pay me for it because nobody can change the rate of interest on it in a recession by making more of it. In crypto, we're seeing it with DeFi, and we'll see it with Bitcoin over time, that you can choose your risk much like you can in credit markets. I can take a junk bond and get more yield, or I can get US Treasury and get less yield. It'll be the same. It'll be Bitcoin will give you the lowest yield, and some of the junkier stuff, the more speculative assets will give you higher yields. And then what happens is there'll be periods of times in a crisis where nobody wants to have that collateral, which is the more speculative stuff, and people want Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's yield will probably rise in a recession, which is the opposite of what happens now. So Doge has a number of users, a big number, but there's not many use cases for those users yet. Yes, you can spend it at Dallas Mavs games, and maybe Elon will do something, and maybe he'll build a use case for it, in which case the network will have value. Right now, it just has speculative value, and that's okay. Ethereum has enormous value because it's growing faster than anything else. It has an enormous number of users. There's all of the applications being built on it and all the developers. So it's like the perfect Metcalfe's law model right now is the Ethereum. So Ethereum is the sweet spot. There'll be other protocols that are less big, less well known earlier in that cycle, and we don't know where they're going to get to, but we can assume, we can extrapolate. So that's how I think of it. Don't think of the dollars, don't think of the investments. It's the head check is, A, do a lot of people invest in it? You know, do they want to be part of the network? And can they do stuff on that network? Bitcoin is building out its use case to deepen it, you know, above store of value. The Lightning Network is one of the key things. And, you know, they're trying to develop more smart contracts and stuff. Does that take off? We don't know, because it has its own perfect use case anyway. But, you know, we'll see this with, you know, whether it's in XRP or whether it's in Polkadot or whether it's in a bunch of these, Cardano, we don't know yet. Some of them are early, some of them are later. I mean, XRP is later and has more adoption, but people aren't yet convinced of the adoption. So that's okay, but we know what to track. So we can be kind of agnostic and have a way of valuing this stuff, that we don't have to be tribal about it and praying for our network to win. We can actually say, look, my job here is to make money, and what I want to do, I can have the philosophical thing about crypto and everything else, but if I want to make some money, I'm looking at this basic set of metrics. And then I can stop listening to all the noise.
So the world changes, things changes. I don't know what's going to be built, but I think the answer for me, I built my portfolio around a foundation of smart contract platforms, because I believe that will be where an app is built that reaches billions of people. Will be on one of these Cardanos or Ethereums or Polkadots or Algorands or whoever. So I've got a nice basket of all those things, and I'm perfectly happy just sitting back and letting all that mass of human capital that's come into the space go to work, and the finance guys like you come in and say, hey, there's alpha here. Let's bring on our alpha hats, throw in some capital and get some alpha, right? So totally happy.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the approach I have. I mean, I have a basket because I don't know. Yes, I know Ethereum, and I've got a bigger weight to it, but other stuff I don't know. And I'm intellectually honest with myself that I don't know, but I'm quite interested in all of these protocols, and let's let the magic of the markets play out, because most of them aren't going to go to zero, but maybe some of them dramatically underperform. But there's going to be a bunch of these that are going to really, really, really outperform, and it will easily outweigh the ones that have underperformed. And look at Jack Dorsey. What is he telling you about Twitter? He wants to use Bitcoin as a network of money on Twitter. So they are all moving this way. So what is it that they've seen? They've seen that the internet created a different world. The world that you and I grew up with was a world of the community that we grew up in as kids. And then it was the community of school. And then it was this, if you went to university, it was your university or your work community. And then the community that you introduced. But they were physical communities. And the further you left home, the more you lost contact. Then Facebook happened. And suddenly, all of the people that you lost contact with came back into your community. So now your community is not physical, but digital.